Okay, a question came up about just accessing your Azure website. Obviously the Publish Wizard does a great job, it gets most of the work done, but there are times when you want to, either out of curiosity or need, just be able to go in and see what files are actually stored up there in this virtual server in the sky, right? So I just have one of my ones from last term that's still up there and running, Niagara College Medical Office, right? By the way, when you come into it in the Azure portal, remember portal.azure.com, you just log in with your account. I can click this link to actually just go and open the actual website, right? So I did that earlier, I logged in already, and that's good. But down here, notice that there's FTP deployment username, right? And then there's the host name. So I can even come over here, click copy, right, to copy the host name. And if I just open Windows Explorer, right? I don't need a fancy FTP client. I can just come over here, paste that in, and I will be prompted to log in, right? So actually it that's not the right username. So the deployment username is NC Medical Office, okay, / and then my account. So where was that, right? Then the password is just my password for Azure. I can save the password. Yeah, you can't log on anonymously. But once I do that, there we go. So now I'm in full FTP. I can drag and drop, right? Here's my site, www.root, right? All of my files are here. So if you wanted to, say, access files, like, for example, if you're storing pictures instead of in the database into like an images folder or something like that get uploaded, you know, you can just go into the folders themselves, drag and drop files in and out. Okay, you work with it just like it's a folder on your PC, just through FTP. So certainly very helpful and handy to be able to do that. So it's just one of the features we hadn't talked about that's available with Azure. You can actually deploy your website through FTP as well instead of using the Publish Wizard and Web Deploy. But I don't recommend bypassing Web Deploy altogether because for one thing it pre-compiles certain aspects, right? Which, you know, if you just drag and drop copy files up there, it'll probably work because it'll probably just compile them at the first request, but a little more reliable to use the Web Deploy. Questions?
For something like an image, like per se, let's just say you have the images folder, if
yeah.
you wanted to like replace an image for something that's already in the database, could you do that through FTP? Or?
Absolutely, yeah. Now if it's stored in the database, you can't, right? Because if it's in the database, it's not just a file sitting in the file system on the server. Even though it's a virtual server, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah. So for the images, and I think there are images in this website. Am I still logged in? Yep. There we go. Right. But they're just stored in the database, so I don't see them anywhere in the file system because they're in the database. Of course, we know that we can connect through SQL Server Management Studio to the database and do all our work like we normally would. Okay. And away you go. But I just thought I'd take a minute and talk about FTP and how easy it is to use that with your websites you're putting up in Azure.